Hello, everyone. Welcome to another lecture video on business laws and regulations. This is the second part of dissolution and winding up, continuation of the uh, previous lecture video. Okay, so we will continue from where we left on our discussion on dissolution and winding up. Particularly, we are in Article 1834 of the Civil Code. So this article reads as follows. After dissolution, a partner can bind the partnership except as provided in the third paragraph of this article. So this is a very long article, so we will just discuss them as first slide, no? As we go through them. We go through each part of this article. So, kasi mga previous na discussion ko, tinatapos ko yung buong article. But 1834, sobrang haba niya. So, unti-untiin na lang natin. Sa introductory paragraph ng 1834, or not really a paragraph, but a statement, the introductory statement of Article 1834 provides that kapag natapos yung dissolution, after dissolution, a partner can bind the partnership. Maaari pa rin na mag-perform ng particular act ang isang partner, and this act will bind the partnership. No? Maaari pa rin daw yun. Except as provided in the third paragraph of Article 1834 na hindi pa natin nakikita. So habang wala pa yung exception, we will go through the general rule as provided by 1834 na after dissolution, a partner can still bind the partnership. Okay, ano yung number one? Yung number one is not really new to us. No? If you recall from the previous lecture video, paulit-ulit itong nabanggit. 1834, number one, sabi niya, by any act appropriate for the winding up of the partnership affairs or for the completion of the transactions unfinished at dissolution. So di ba we recall before doon sa previous lecture videos natin na we have learned from the previous lecture video na the dissolution of the partnership will deprive the partners of the authority to act on behalf of the partnership. So parang doon pa negative yung approach, dito parang positive yung approach. After dissolution, a partner can still bind the partnership. So actually, yung 1834, enumerate niya yung exception to the rule that after dissolution, the partner's authority to act on behalf of the partnership is no longer there, no? Will be terminated. So isa sa mga rule that the partnership or the partners can still act on behalf of the partnership and still bind the partnership. This is not new to us, sabi natin, by any act appropriate for the winding up of the partnership affairs, meaning to liquidate the assets. So kapag ibebenta na yung mga assets na naiwan para mabayaran yung kung ano man yung kailangang bayaran, we will learn later on kung ano yung mga paano ba i-dispose yung properties ng, or liquidate yung assets ng isang partnership. So technically, meron siyang, syempre may mga utang siya, may mga kailangan pa siyang gastusin, may mga expenses yung liquidation. So para mabayaran niyang mga yan, kung meron kang cash, then pwede mong ipambayad yung cash obviously. Pero kung hindi sapat yung cash and you have non-cash assets, you have to sell yung mga non-cash assets na yan. So yung process na yan, ng pagbebenta ng non-cash assets at kung ano man yung proceeds ay ipambayad ng mga kailangang bayaran, liquidation ang tawag doon. So that's part of the winding up, and we have learned before na kung importante yan for the winding up of the partnership affairs, then that act can still bind the partnership even if supposedly na-withdraw na yung authority ng mga partners to act on behalf of the partnership. And for the completion of the transactions which were begun, no, pero hindi pa natapos. So, para siyang work in process ako sa accounting. So para matapos mo yung mga ano na yan, yung mga works na yan, nasimulan mo na pero hindi pa habang habang tinatapos mo o sa kalagitnaan ng paggawa ng partnership for that particular transaction, inabutan sila ng dissolution, there has been a change in the partnership affairs, then you still have to continue. Hindi nila pwedeng iwan na lang basta yung client at sabihin na, ay hindi na nag-dissolve pa kami. Kalimutan na natin tong transaction na ito. No, you still have to continue it. And syempre, since that is just a completion of a transaction na nasimulan na ninyo prior to the dissolution, then those acts will still bind the partnership. So madali namang intindihin itong portion na ito. Let's go to the next. By any transaction which would bind the partnership if the dissolution had not taken place, provided that the other party to the transaction. So ito naman, binabanggit dito yung as if parang walang dissolution na nangyari. The transaction will still bind the partnership as if walang dissolution na nangyari. Kailan mangyayari to? Ano yung mga conditions para mangyari yung as if hindi siya na-dissolve? Una, if a third person, the other party, hindi pala third person yung tinawag sa kanya, if the other party, ibig sabihin yung patransact ng partnership, no, had extended credit, na nagpautang siya to the partnership prior to the dissolution and had no knowledge or notice of the dissolution. So nagpautang siya prior to the dissolution. And then hindi niya alam na tawag dito, na-dissolve na yung partnership. So wala siyang alam. Pero nakipag-transact pa rin siya. So ibig sabihin, may sequence of event. Una, prior to the dissolution, this third person has extended credit. Nagpautang siya, extended credit to the partnership. And then, nag-dissolve yung partnership. Nag-dissolve siya sa number 2. Nag-dissolve, dito natin ilagay. Pero, number 3, that third person had no knowledge or notice of the dissolution. Hindi niya alam na nagkaroon ng dissolution. At dahil hindi niya alam na nagkaroon ng dissolution, number 4, that third person still entered into a transaction. So kapag ganyan yung sequence ng events, nag-extend ng credit, nag-dissolve yung partnership, hindi alam ng tao na nag-extend ng credit na na-dissolve na yung partnership, and then nag-enter siya into a transaction with that partnership. So kapag ganyan, binding pa rin yung transaction, itong number 4 na yan, with the partnership. It will still bind the partnership and obviously by extension, also the partners. Or ito naman yung isa pa. Though he had not so extended credit kasi yung una nagpautang siya, so wala yung step number 1 natin, had nevertheless known of the partnership prior to dissolution. So ibig sabihin, meron silang prior transactions. Although it may not pertain to the extension of credit, yung pagpapautang. Kasi dito, merong extension of credit na involved doon sa unang situation. Dito sa pangalawang situation, there is no extension of credit, but there is there is already a transaction, no? Suki siya kasi known of the partnership That third person knows the partnership prior to the dissolution. So ibig sabihin, hindi bago sa kanya yung partnership. Kunyari ito yung date ng dissolution, dito pa lang nakikipag-transact na siya with the partnership. Hindi pwedeng mag-apply na na-dissolve na yung partnership, then new customer siya or new client siya. This article will never apply. So ito, nagkaroon na ng dissolution, meron ng transaction before. Okay. At known siya to the part, there's a familiarity, kumbaga, between the partnership and that third person na hindi naman nag-extend ng credit. Yung kanina, there may not be a familiarity dito, pero nag-extend siya ng credit. Dito meron. And having no knowledge or notice of dissolution, the fact of dissolution had not been advertised in a newspaper of general circulation at which the partnership business was regularly carried on. So dito ano yung natin, yung series of events natin. Una, there were prior transactions, although it may not involve extension of credit. Kasi paano siya magkakaroon ng knowledge with the partnership, no? Meron silang familiarity with the partnership if there has been no transaction between them. So, syempre hindi. So, dapat alam niya. So, number one, prior transactions with the partnership. Number two, dissolution. So, nagkaroon na ng transactions before, nagkaroon ng familiarity before, then itong partnership ay na-dissolve. Third, no, no knowledge. Itong third person with respect to the fact of dissolution. Parang ganito rin naman. Parang ganyan din naman. And then, there is a transaction. Although, wala tayong maano dito. Kasi nasa introductory pa, nasa number 2 siya. So, meron transaction between that third person and this partnership. Pero meron siyang dinagdag dito. The fact of dissolution had not been advertised. I think sa closing portion, no, towards the end of my discussion sa previous lecture video, nabanggit ko doon yung matter about constructive notice. Pag sinabing constructive notice, para nag-example pa nga ako, nag-publish yung partnership in a newspaper of general circulation. So pinublish niya in a newspaper of general circulation yung fact na itong partnership ay na-dissolve na. Or the fact na yung isang partner ay nag-withdraw na, which caused the dissolution of the partnership. O yung fact na may namatay na partner which caused the dissolution of a partnership. Mga ganon. Sinabi ko pa nga doon na even if that other person with whom the partnership transacted does not read the newspaper, kahit di pa siya nagbabasa ng dyaryo, there is a constructive notice. Ibig sabihin, ipinagpapalagay na nalaman nating lahat yun, including us. No? Kahit tayo dito, kahit ikaw na nakikinig sa akin, ako na nagsasalita dito, kapag yung matter of the dissolution of a partnership is published in a newspaper of general circulation, that is constructive notice to us. Meaning we are all notified of that fact of dissolution. Now, we cannot deny na hindi natin alam na dissolved na siya. Kasi kapag na-publish siya, so there's a presumption na alam natin, hindi mag-a-apply yung 1834. Kasi para mag-apply yung 1834, dapat hindi mo siya alam, di ba? You have no knowledge or notice of that dissolution. Magkaka-knowledge ka kapag pinublish eh. So dapat hindi rin siya not advertised in a newspaper of general circulation. So technically, yung requirement number, itong binilugang ko pinakahuli, yung not advertised, is similar to number 3. Diba? Wala kang alam. Hindi alam ng third person na na-dissolve na yung partnership. Yan. Pero again, pag na-publish na, alam mo na yun. There's a presumption na alam mo. Because publication will result in a constructive notice to each and every one of us of the fact of dissolution. Okay? So, i-wrap up natin yung itong portion na to. Anong meron sa portion na to? Valid pa rin ang isang transaction. It will still bind the partnership if a third person, although hindi siya nag-extend ng credit, knows the partnership even prior to the dissolution. No? For some reason, which I would presume to be a prior transaction. Kasi nalaman niya. Meron siyang knowledge about that partnership. Hindi bago sa kanya yung partnership. And then, after that prior transaction, the partnership was dissolved. Not really decided, but for whatever reason, the partnership was dissolved. And then that fact of dissolution is not known to that other person, to that third person, and the fact of dissolution was not published in a newspaper of general circulation. And then, dahil hindi niya nga alam na dissolve na pala yung partnership at wala ring constructive notice upon him, that third person still entered into a transaction with the partnership. If those items will be present, then our Article 1834 will apply and the transaction will still be valid. Okay. Next portion of Article 1834, the liability of a partner under the first paragraph, number 2, shall be satisfied out of partnership assets alone, when such partner had been prior to the dissolution unknown as a partner to the person with whom the contract is made, and so far unknown and inactive in partnership affairs that the business reputation of the partnership could not be said to have been in any degree due to his connection with it. Okay. So dito sa Article 1834, medyo nakakalito siya, merong, tawag dito, merong classification ng partner. So merong silent partner, dormant partner, ostensible partner, and active partner. So ito depende kung sila ay known to the public and if they are actively participating with the management affair. So gawa natin ang summary. So ito active participation, and then publicly known. Active, meron siyang contribution, talagang gumagawa siya doon sa partnership, kumikilos siya kumbaga. And then publicly known, no, alam nung public na itong tao na ito ay partner to that particular partnership. So if actively participating in the affairs of the partnership and publicly known, ang tawag natin sa kanya ay ostensible partner. Kapag siya ay actively participating but not publicly known, ang tawag sa kanya ay secret partner. So nagtatrabaho siya dun sa partnership pero hindi din disclose yung kanyang status as a partner. Secret partner siya. Okay lang yun, di ba? We have learned sa pinakauna actually 2 lecture videos ago, binanggit ko doon that the partnership name may include all or not all the names of the partnership. So if your name is not included, ginusto mo, okay lang naman yun. Pero ang mahirap, ang mali ay yung hindi ka naman partner pero inaalaw mo na yung apelido mo ay gamitin as part of the partnership name. Pero kung partner ka, tas ayaw mong malaman ng iba o ng public na ikaw ay partner in that partnership, kaya hindi mo pinayagan or ni-request mo na wag na lang isama yung apelido mo, pero meron ka pa ring participation in the partnership, then ang tawag sa'yo ay secret partner. If you are not actively participating in the affairs of the partnership but you are publicly known, ang tawag sa'yo ay silent partner. Tahimik ka lang, kaya silent. No? Hindi ka nangingialam dun sa affairs ng partnership. But you are publicly known. Alam ng iba, alam ng public na, alam ng third person, so ikaw ay partner in that partnership but you are not actively participating as such partner. If you are not actively participating and you are not publicly known, ang tawag sa'yo ay dormant partner. Dormant partner ka. Minsan sinasabi nila that a dormant partner is a combination of a secret partner and a silent partner. Secret ka, bakit nila sinasabi yun? Secret ka kasi you are not publicly known as a dormant partner. You are silent because you do not participate in the management of the affairs of the partnership. Kaya sinasabi nila that a dormant partner is a secret partner at the same time a silent partner. So yun yung summary ng ating 4 na uri ng mga partners with respect to their participation in the affairs of the partnership and their publicity or the knowledge that you are by the third person or by the public that you are a partner in that particular partnership. Okay. Saan tayo napunta doon? Okay. 1834. Ulit. The liability of a partner under the first paragraph, number 2. First paragraph. Number 2, yan, 2, yan, A and B. Kasi ito may mga patungkol sa knowledge eh. A and B yan, shall be satisfied out of the partnership assets alone when such partner had been prior to the dissolution unknown as a partner to the person with whom the contract is made. So ibig sabihin hindi siya ostensible, no? Hindi siya known to the public. Unknown siya as a partner to the person. So kapag ganyan na ang katransact ng third person na tinutukoy dito sa 2A and 2B, yan, 2A and 2B, ay isang person, isang partner rather, which is unknown to the person, then the liability of that partner under that first paragraph, yun nga, yung 2A and 2B, ang gagamitin pambayad dyan ay partnership assets alone. Alone. Hindi siya nag-extend into the personal assets of that particular partner. And so far unknown and inactive, no? Unknown and inactive, so dormant siya, no? Unknown and inactive in the partnership affairs, that the business reputation of the partnership could not be said to have been in any degree due to his connection with it. Kasi nga unknown siya and inactive. So ibig sabihin, ang tinutukoy sa number 1 dito, unknown as a partner, no? To the person, so dito siya, secret siya. At saka dormant partner, yung number 2, unknown and inactive. So 1834, itong portion na to ng Article 1834 na nagsasabi na yung liability dito sa 2A and 2B, no, yung kakadiscuss lang natin, will have to be satisfied out of partnership assets. The reasons ay dahil itong partner naman na ito ay hindi kilala as a partner. Hindi siya kilala as a partner to the point na sinasabi dito sa number 2, to the point na dahil hindi naman siya kilala as a partner, hindi naman naapektuhan yung reputasyon ng partnership dahil sa kanya. Na hindi naman siguro pumasok itong third person na ito doon sa kontrata o doon sa transaction because of this person, because of this partner. Because this partner in the first place is a secret partner sa number 1 or a dormant partner. Unknown siya to the public, unknown siya to the third person. So walang effect yung kanyang pangalan dito. That is why, the liability arising out of 2A and 2B will have to be satisfied using partnership assets. Still at Article 1834 ang haba niya. The partnership is in no case bound by any act of the partner after dissolution. So dito, pinag-uusapan naman or sinasummarize naman yung mga sitwasyon kung saan yung mga partners ay nag-enter pa rin into a transaction after the dissolution of the partnership. Sa unang portion kanina, ang sabi natin, yung partnership is still bound by the transactions entered into by the partners after the dissolution of the partnership. Dito, the partnership is no longer bound by the acts of the partner after dissolution. So dito, yung mga partners, they still entered into a transaction after the dissolution of the partnership. At ang effect niyan, pursuant to this article ay hindi binding. Hindi binding sa partnership. Una, where the partnership is dissolved because it is unlawful to carry on the business unless the act is appropriate for the winding up of the partnership affairs. So number 1, this is a ground for the dissolution. Di ba? Marami tayong pinag-usapan na grounds for the dissolution, whether it will violate the tawag dito, the contract of partnership, it will not violate the contract of partnership, or it is because of the act of a partner, or even judicial application, judicial dissolution. Yung court ang magdi-decree or mag-uutos nung or mag-determine kung ang isang partnership ba ay dapat nang ma-dissolve because there are factual issues involved in the dissolution. So dito, isa sa mga grounds na pinag-usapan natin for the dissolution of the partnership is that the business of the partnership became illegal. It was legal in the simula, from the start, pero as time went by, biglang merong bagong batas na declaring that the business of the partnership is now illegal or unlawful. And for that reason, the partnership can no longer proceed with the business. Kasi nga, illegal na siya, ba't pa tayo makukulong tayo dito? Yung mga partners, no? Makukulong tayo kapag tinuloy pa natin to. So we have no choice but to stop our business operations and dissolve the partnership. So if notwithstanding the declaration of the government that a particular business is now considered unlawful or illegal, tumuloy pa rin yung mga partners in the transacting their business, then it will no longer bind the partnership. Ang effect nun, if it will no longer bind the partnership, any liability arising out of the transaction can no longer be considered as the liability of the partnership. Kasi nga, the partnership is not bound by that transaction. So kung sakaling magkaroon ng problema or magkaroon ng possible na litigation or liability, it is now the personal acts of the partner. So kayo na lang yan, hindi nyo na pwedeng idamay yung partnership kasi nga, ang ground for the dissolution ay illegality of the transaction. Except if the transaction is appropriate. Ibig sabihin, conditional pa siya. No? Meron siyang requirement. Dapat appropriate siya for the liquidation or the winding up of the partnership affairs, which is unusual din. No? It's not common na maging dahilan na kaya ko to ginagawa, no? Tinutuloy ko pa rin yung business kahit illegal kasi appropriate siya. No? Kasi parang mahirap i-reconcile yung term na appropriate with illegality or unlawfulness. Once the government declared a transaction or a business activity as unlawful, no, hindi mo na siya pwedeng ituloy at idahilan na appropriate kasi itong ginagawa ko for the winding up of the partnership affairs. Siguro stop mo yung business, maaari, and you are now in the process of liquidating. Nagbabayad ka na lang siguro ng utang, ganyan. Pwede yun. Siguro na hindi mo na pwedeng i-liquidate yung assets mo kasi kung illegal na siya, illegal na siya. Hindi mo siya pwedeng sabihin na okay lang ibenta ko pa rin to kasi kailangan ko mag-liquidate. Hindi pwede. Pero may mga ibang bagay na maaari mo pa rin gawin. Siguro magbabayad ka ng sweldo ng mga tauhan nyo. Yan. Appropriate pa rin siya for the winding up of the affairs. Valid pa rin yun. It will still bind the partnership. Pero yung very nature ng business ninyo na which is already declared illegal by the government or unlawful by the government can no longer proceed. It will not bind the partnership. Where the partner has become insolvent, kapag insolvent ka na, stop na, tandaan, insolvency of the partner or of the partnership will dissolve the partnership. Whether the partner or the partnership. So kapag ganyan na ikaw ay insolvent, diba, economic status yung insolvency. So kung ako yung partner at ako ay declared insolvent, wala na akong sapat na assets to cover or to pay for my liabilities. Hindi na po protekta, nawawala ng protection yung third person, yung katransact ng partnership. Kung yung isang partner ay insolvent na. So kasi 'di ba, kung sakali lang that the partnership will incur liability because of the transaction and the properties or the assets of the partnership is not sufficient to cover for that liability or that obligation, saan sila pupunta? Pupunta sila ngayon sa mga partners. Kasi sabi natin, by extension, unless you are a limited partner, yung mga yung partnership obligations may be satisfied using the personal assets of the partners except for a limited partner. Pero kung ikaw ay insolvent, how will that come to fruition? Paano mangyayaring mag-extend sa personal assets mo or properties mo yung obligation ng partnership, ikaw nga mismo, hindi mo mabayaran yung mga sarili mong utang gamit ang sarili mong property. Alam naman natin that with respect to personal property, ang meron dyang preference ay yung personal obligations ng partner. So kapag nakipag-transact itong isang insolvent na tao on behalf of the partnership, ay at that time insolvent na yung partner na yon, walang protection yung third person. At dahil walang protection yung third person, it will no longer bind the partnership. Yun yung gustong mangyari ng 1834. So tumigil ka na kasi hindi na binding yung mga transactions na yan. Okay? Kasi you are already insolvent and we need to protect third persons. Okay? So medyo malalim yung dahilan niya. Where the partner has no authority to wind up the partnership affair. So dito, sa number 3 ay meron tayong isa pang uri ng partner, ang tawag natin ay liquidating partner. Sa liquidating partner, para siyang tubig. Ay isang partner na tinalaga in the articles of co-partnership or subsequent thereto as the partner who will undertake the liquidation of the partnership. Kaya siya liquidating partner. So para magkakaroon, syempre hindi naman sinabi na yun lang yung silbi niya. Napaka-negative naman ng participation niya doon sa partnership. Kung kailan mag-liquidate na yung partnership, saka lang siya e-eksena. Ang pangat naman ng kanyang, ng kanyang assignment. O sige, nag-form tayo ng partnership. O umuwi ka na muna, liquidating partner. Balik ka na lang pag mag-liquidate na tayo. Pangit naman. Siyempre, meron siyang ibang gagawin during the life of the partnership. Pero, kapag nag-liquidate na, nag-decide na ma-dissolve yung partnership and then it will lead to the liquidation of the partnership, then walang ibang maaari mag-undertake ng liquidation na yan kundi yung liquidating partner. So, meron na appoint na liquidating partner. Sa number 3, where the partner has no authority to wind up the partnership affair. So, ibig sabihin, yung situation na kino-contemplate ng Article 1834 number 3 na pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ay meron silang in-appoint na liquidating partner pero yung pumasok sa transaction after the dissolution of the partnership ay hindi yung liquidating partner. Okay. Siyempre, kung merong assigned or designated liquidating partner, yung mga transactions na papasukin ng liquidating partner, syempre tungkol sa liquidation yun. Valid yun. It will bind the partnership. Kasi di ba, may rule tayo that even after dissolution, if the transaction pertains to the liquidation of the partnership, then valid and binding yan with the partnership. So if you are the liquidating partner and the transaction pertains to the liquidation, even if that is after the dissolution of the partnership, that transaction will still bind the partnership. What if you are not the liquidating partner and you entered into a transaction after the dissolution of the partnership despite the fact that you agreed that merong isang partner who is not you who will manage the liquidation of the partnership. You will not bind the partnership. Kasi again, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay the partnership is not bound by the act of this partner. 1, 2, 3. Where the partnership has no authority. You are not the liquidating partner. Meron tayong tinalagang liquidating partner. Kung pumapapil ka dyan, hindi ka, wala kang karapatan to bind the partnership. Si liquidating partner lang to. Except, meron naman tayong except, by a transaction with one, ito third person to, yung third person mo ay number 1, similar siya doon sa mga earlier portion ng article na ito, had extended credit to the partnership prior to the dissolution and had no knowledge or notice of his want of authority. So ang tinutukoy dito na want of authority, hindi niya alam na itong kausap niya ay hindi yung liquidating partner. So nagpautang siya, katulad nung naunang situation, no? Pag inatras mo lang ng konti itong discussion na ito. Nagpautang siya prior to the dissolution, nag-dissolve, pero hindi niya alam yung dissolution, na nangyari yung dissolution. Ito, nagpautang siya, nagkaroon ng dissolution, pero hindi niya alam na itong katransact niya ay hindi yung liquidating partner. Or wala siyang authority to act on the liquidation of the partnership or to manage the liquidation of the partnership. Or, letter B, although he had not extended credit, hindi siya nagpautang prior to the dissolution, and having no knowledge or notice of of his want of authority. Pag want of authority, wala siyang authority. Hindi siya yung liquidating partner. The fact of his want of authority or lack of authority is not advertised or published in a newspaper of general circulation. So similar siya doon. Again, walang constructive notice. So walang pinublish na notice yung partnership sa newspaper of general circulation saying that ABC partnership is undergoing a dissolution and partner D is assigned. Okay. So, tumuloy siya. Weird. So, na-disconnect ako at bumalik at huli. So, share screen uli natin. So, hindi ko alam kung saan siya na hinto. Weird. Sa Article 1834, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin. Katulad doon sa unang situation kung saan hindi daw siya nagpautang pero may knowledge naman siya about that partnership pero itong katransak niya, hindi niya alam na hindi yung liquidating partner. Wala siyang authority to manage or to handle the liquidation of the partnership. At dito pala ako natapos, walang constructive notice. So same lang, I will not repeat yung nangyari but yung kino-contemplate niya na situation ay similar to the first few portions of Article 1834. And then, meron pa rin, nothing in this article shall affect the liability under Article 1825 of any person who, after the dissolution, represents himself or consents to another representing him as a partner in a partnership engaged in a carrying on business. So sa Article 1825, if you recall, ay patungkol sa partnership by estoppel. So itong mga bagay na pinag-usapan daw natin ay hindi maapektuhan yung liability ng mga tao na nagmi-misrepresent at pinag-relied upon, nagkaroon ng reliance in good faith by a third person. At itong third person na ito dahil naniwala siya dun sa mga misrepresentation, maaaring nag-extend siya ng credit or maaaring siya ay pumasok sa transaction after the dissolution. So merong estoppel dyan, hindi nila pwedeng itanggi yung kanilang mga pinagsasabi. Kaya, although estoppel again is a factual issue, kailangan ng ebidensya. No? Kunyari, kiniklaim nung third person na kaya naman ako nagpautang dyan kasi hindi ko naman alam na dissolved na. Nagtanong ako kung dissolved na, sabi niya hindi pa. So, kaya tumuloy ako sa transaction. Sa estoppel ang tawag dyan. Pero papatunayan niya yun. Kailan nangyari yung sinasabi mo? Paano yun pa? Sino ang present? Sino pang ibang nakarinig? Bukod sa'yo, sinulat ba ninyo yan? Nag-follow up pa, may text, etc. etc. So hindi lang sapat na nagkwento ka. Dapat meron kang patunay, may ebidensya ka na mag-substantiate sa claim mo na ikaw ay napaniwala dun sa kanilang misrepresentation. Okay? That's 1834, last portion. Estoppel. Wow, 1835. Buti natapos na 1834. 1835, the dissolution of the partnership does not of itself discharge the existing liability of any partner. So, tandaan natin na yung dissolution ng partnership, ang tinutukoy lang niya dito ay hindi humihinto yung liability ng mga partners dahil lang na-dissolve yung partnership. Siguro, hindi mag-a-apply to kung ikaw ay limited partner. Pero as a general rule, di ba, hindi naman natin pwedeng i-presume na isang partner ay limited partner. Kung hindi natin alam kung siya ay limited or general, we have to presume na siya ay general partner. At dahil ang presumption ikaw ay general partner, then the dissolution of the partnership will not relieve you of your obligations. Bakit? Kasi kung hindi sapat yung assets ng partnership to answer for or to pay for the obligations of the partnership, then the creditors will have the right to run after you, no? To run after your personal obligations unless you are insolvent. Kasi kapag insolvent ka, yung mga assets mo ay ipambabayad muna doon sa personal liabilities mo, hindi sa partnership liability. So, pwede pa rin maghabol yung mga creditors ng partnership, pero hindi sila priority. Kailangan lang maghintay. Hindi pa pala tapos yun. 1835, next paragraph. A partner is discharged from any existing liability upon dissolution of the partnership by an agreement to that effect between himself, the partnership creditor, and the person or partnership continuing the business. And such agreement may be inferred from the course of dealing between the creditor having knowledge of the dissolution and the person or partnership continuing the business. Ang tinutukoy dito is an exception to the first statement na ang isang partner ay hindi na-relieve ng kanyang obligation doon sa liabilities ng partnership even after na ma-dissolve na yung partnership. Dito, maaari siyang ma-discharge, ibig sabihin, ma-relieve siya from the liability upon dissolution of the partnership if itong tatlong tao na ito ay mayroong agreement. Ibig sabihin, nag-consent sila to the discharge of this particular partner. Sino tong tatlo na ito? Kailangan mag-agree sila, oo, discharge ka na. So yun yung agreement nila. Pumapayag kami. Kami ay sumasang-ayon na ikaw ay discharged na upon the dissolution of the partnership. Una, the concerned partner. Siyempre, mag-agree siya dyan. Sino ba naman ang hindi gusto na ma-discharge sa liability? So, kung mawalan o ma-relieve ng liability. Number one, yung concerned partner. Pangalawa, the partnership creditor. Ito, mahirap papayagin to. Pero kung sakaling papahayag siya, well and good, Article 1835 will apply. Pero required na yung partnership creditor should agree, should consent to the discharge or to the relief of this particular partner. Kasi supposedly, the partner should not be relieved from obligation upon the partnership dissolution. And then, number 3, so yung pangatlo, ay yung mga person or partnership, the person or partnership continuing the business. So meron tayong tinatawag na continuing partner. So ibig sabihin merong na-withdraw from the partnership. If more than one pa yung naiwan, they can still continue with the partnership. Ang tawag sa kanila, continuing partnership. Or kung mag-isa na lang siya, person ang tawag sa kanya. Pero kung marami pa sila, partnership pa rin sila. Continuing partnership. Pero syempre, na-dissolve mo na yung partnership na original, nag-continue sila with another partnership. Continuing partnership yun. Okay, so itong naiwan na tao, kung kunyari dalawa lang sila originally, nag-withdraw na yung isa, una, papayag ba siya na mawalan ng utang? Siyempre. Papayag ba yung pinagkakautangan? Hindi natin alam. Pero kung sakaling pumayag siya, then so be it. Ito ba, papayag ba siya? Yung maiiwan na person? Yan. So kung pumayag siya, tatlo silang pumapayag, the partner, concerned partner, the partnership creditor, and the person na maiiwan dun sa partnership, which is hindi na nga siya partnership kasi mag-isa na nga lang siya, ay magko-consent silang lahat for the discharge of this withdrawing partner. Okay? Such agreement may be inferred from the course of the dealing between the creditor having knowledge of the dissolution. Ibig sabihin, kung wala mang express agreement, so dito pwede mo siyang implied. Yung una kasing situation, bago tong semicolon na yan, nag-usap talaga sila. Umupo silang tatlo. Ako yung creditor, siya yung partner o ikaw yung maiiwan dun sa partnership, or ikaw na lang yung tao magiging sole proprietorship, or kung marami pa kayong maiiwan, kayo yung maiiwan sa partnership, o pumapayag ba tayong tatlo na siya ay mawala na ng liability? Approve, approve, approve. So, yun yung una. Hindi mo kailangan magtanong, pumapayag kaya sila? Yun nga yung nangyari. Pumapayag sila. Yung pangalawa, hindi ganun yung nangyari. But you can imply from the situation, you can infer, you can have that presumption na siguro ganun yung napag-usapan, siguro pumapayag sila. Bakit? Kasi despite the fact, ito sabi niya dito, despite the fact having knowledge, yung creditor having knowledge of the dissolution, and the person or the partnership continuing the business, walang nangongolekta. Diba? Kasi supposedly, kung hindi sila pumapayag na siya ay ma-discharge from personal liability, kokolektahan siya. Pero nagkaroon sila ng subsequent dealings. Nagkaharap-harap uli silang tatlo, itong partnership creditor, itong naiwan na mga tao sa partnership, at yung nag-withdraw na partner. Kung sila ang tatlo ay magkakaharap-harap at walang ganong arrangement, hahabulin nila, ini-invoke namin yung first portion ng Article 1835. You are not discharged from your personal liability. I-invoke nila yan. Pero kung nagkaharap-harap sila at walang ganong invocation, walang ganong paghahabol, then you can imply that that third person is discharged from personal liability. Diba? Or maaaring pinautang pa nga nila, ganyan, they proceeded to transact business with him as if walang nangyaring withdrawal before. Diba? Kasi kung ikaw yung nanonood sa kanilang tatlo, teka lang, di ba may utang pa dapat siya? Ba't niyo pinapayagan na transact kayo without referring to the personal obligation of this partner, no? Previous partner. You can imply, no? You can imply that they agree that this person be relieved from personal liability. 18, meron pa. The individual partner of a deceased partner shall be liable for all obligations of the partnership incurred while he was a partner, but subject to the prior payment of his separate debt. So dito, ang naging cause ng dissolution ng partnership ay death of a partner. Sabi natin doon sa previous lecture video, one of the grounds for the dissolution of a partnership obviously is the death of a partner. No? You can no longer associate yourself with a dead person. No? That will automatically dissolve the partnership. Now, what will happen if namatay na siya? Siyempre, mataterm na dissolve yung partnership. What if yung mga naiwan na mga partners decided to liquidate? Ayaw na natin, medyo kunyari emotional sila. They are emotional with the demise of their partner to the point na hindi ko kayang ituloy ito nang wala siya, ganun. Or kung ano man yung kanilang personal view on the matter. Huwag natin ituloy ito, so they decided to liquidate. May mga naiwan na utang. After liquidation, kulang pa yung kanilang pambayad. Kung sakaling hindi siya namatay, yung isang partner na ito, alam natin that the remaining partnership obligation will be satisfied using personal assets. So ang tanong ngayon, can the creditor run after the estate? Pag sinabing estate, ito yung properties left behind by a dead person. So namatay na siya, so meron siya mga properties, pero yung properties na yun, personal niya yun. So hindi yan properties ng partnership. Ito yung properties niya nung siya ay namatay, not with respect to any partnership. Estate ko ito. Estate yung properties na iniwan ng namatay na tao. So, pero itong namatay na tao na ito ay meron siyang partnership at the time of his death. Meron mga partnership creditor. So the partnership creditor satisfy their claim using the properties of the estate. Siyempre, bago nila gawin yan, kung i-allow man sila, dumaan muna sila dun sa assets ng partnership. Mangolekta muna sila from the partnership. Satisfy nila yung claim using partnership assets kasi doon muna sila maghabol. For example, naghabol na sila from the partnership, nabayaran sila, pero may naiwan pa rin na claim, may receivable pa rin silang kailangan makolekta. Now, can they now run after the estate considering that one of the partners has died at merong naiwan na mga properties? Yan. Sabi dito, yes, pwede pa rin. As long as that obligation was incurred while he was a partner. Hindi after nung siya ay namatay. So, kung siya ay namatay, for example, dito, ito yung ito yung death niya, which will coincide with the dissolution. Siyempre, kung ito yung pagkamatay niya, ito rin yung dissolution. So, yung mga maaaring maghabol dun sa estate ay yung mga obligations na na-incur during this period. Kung meron mga additional obligations na may incur during this period, the estate will no longer be liable for those obligations incurred after his death or after the dissolution of the partnership. Okay? That's Article 1835. 1836. No? Unless otherwise agreed, the partners who have not wrongfully dissolved the partnership or the legal representative of the last surviving partner who is not insolvent has the right to wind up the partnership affairs, provided, however, that any partner, his legal representative, or his assignee, upon cause shown, may obtain winding up by the court. So nabanggit natin kanina yung isang partner na the liquidating partner. Yung liquidating partner na yan ay designation and agreed upon, a designation agreed upon by the partners, usually at the time that they entered into the contract of partnership. Nag-usap-usap sila o gawa tayo ng partnership, paano hatiin ng profits, paano hatiin ng losses, yan, nakalagay yan sa kanilang contract of partnership. And pwedeng sabihin nila, o sino magmamanage ng affairs, sino ang managing partner? Yan, lagay nila sa contract of partnership. Maaari or maaaring hindi rin, pero maaari na meron silang appointment or designation ng liquidating partner. Nabanggit natin kanina na maaari na mag-usap yung mga partners na in case na mag-liquidate yung ating partnership, then itong si D, si partner D, ang ating ina-designate or ina-assign bilang liquidating partner. Siya ang mamamahala dun sa winding up of the affairs. Para isa na lang, no, centralized kumbaga, yung liquidation ng ating partnership. Siya ang liquidating partner. Okay. So, pag ganun yung situation, ang tanong mo, sino mag-liquidate? Siyempre, ituturo mo si D. Kasi meron kayong pinag-usapan. Eh. Si D, inassign namin siya. Dinesignate namin siya. Basahin niyo yung contract of partnership. Andun nakalagay. D is designated as liquidating partner and who shall manage the winding up of the affairs of the partnership upon liquidation. Ayan, malinaw si D yan. What if walang ganun? Magiging void ba yung contract of partnership? Hindi. The validity and the legality of the contract of partnership is not affected by the lack of designation ng liquidating partner. Not even by the managing partner. Di ba? Kahit nang hindi kayo mag-designate ng managing partner, alam natin kung paano i-manage yung affairs. Merong solution dyan ang civil code. O dito, wala kayong dinesignate na liquidating partner. Ibig sabihin, wala nang mag-liquidate. Sabi ng Article 1836, meron pa rin. Meron solution dyan. Kung if you failed to designate or identify or indicate a partner who will act as the liquidating partner, o Article 1836, meron dyang solusyon. O sino? Hindi, wala siyang sinabi. Ang sabi lang niya, hindi maaari, no? Hindi maaari, nasa dulo eh. Ulit, unless otherwise agreed upon, the partners who have not wrongfully dissolved the partnership or the legal representative of the last surviving partner, not insolvent, has the right to wind up the partnership affairs. So dito muna tayo. Sino yung may karapatan? Yung hindi guilty. Tandaan, merong mga sitwasyon kung saan nava-violate yung ating partnership contract. At kung merong nakaka-violate, may mga act na nakaka-violate ng partnership contract, then ang tawag dun sa nag-violate ng partnership contract ay guilty partner. Yan. Paano siya maging guilty partner? O simple example na lang. The partnership is a partnership for a fixed term. We agree that the partnership will be for a period of 25 years. And then this partner, all of a sudden, year 5, decides to dissolve the partnership. Ayoko na. Again, we cannot compel him or her to continue with the partnership. Kung ayaw niya na, ayaw niya na. Wala tayong magagawa doon. Kaya lang, yung sinasabi niya na ayoko na sa partnership na ito, i-dissolve ko na siya, I'm withdrawing, despite the fact na, despite my knowledge na ito ay good for 25 years, we withdraw ko. Siya ay guilty. Guilty partner siya. Okay. Yung mga walang violation ng contract of partnership ay tatawagin natin innocent partners. So between the guilty partner and the innocent partner, who has the right to manage the liquidation? Siyempre yung innocent partner. Sabi dito, the partners who have not wrongfully dissolved has the right to wind up the partnership affairs. Stated otherwise, if you have wrongfully dissolved the partnership, you do not have the right to wind up the partnership affairs. Okay. What if the ground for the dissolution of the partnership is insolvency of the partners? Matandaan natin that a partnership is dissolved by the insolvency of the partnership or of the partners. So ang sabi dito, kung sino daw yung huling magiging insolvent. No? Kung sakali na si A, si B, si C, si D, at si E ay naging insolvent in that order, yan. Ay, hindi pala pwede. Dapat not insolvent. Kung si E na lang, sorry. Kung si E na lang yung hindi insolvent, then si E na lang yung maaaring wind up nung partnership. Siya yung last na partner na hindi insolvent. So siya na lang yung maaaring mag-manage nung partnership liquidation. Okay. So malinaw yon. Provided, however, that any partner, his legal representative or his assignee, and upon cause shown, may obtain winding up by the court. So for example, si A ay walang tiwala for some reason. Wala siyang tiwala kay E. Sabi niya, hindi. Si E, may mismanage yan. Kilala na namin yan si E. Then, if upon cause shown, kailangan niyang i-convince again, this one is evidentiary in nature. Sabihin ni A sa court na wag si E. Although alam namin under Article 1836 siya ang may karapatan na handle ng liquidation ng partnership, we have reason to believe na hindi nito magagampanan ng maayos. So kailangang i-convince ni A yung court na hindi magagawa ni E ng maayos yung liquidation ng partnership. Then, yung court ang mag-liquidate. Yan. May obtain winding up by the court. 1837, mahaba. So dahil mahabang article na naman ito, I will have to stop yung article 1837. So 34, 35, 36, tatlong article lang. Anyway, so that's it for this lecture video. I will have to continue. I will have to stop the recording and continue with Article 1837 on the next lecture video. Thank you. And pasensya na dun sa biglang pag-stop ng video and then nag-resume. Hopefully, wag na siyang mangyari ulit.